It has been 15 years without answers for the family of Ali Gilmore. 4 months pregnant, the FAMU grad vanished from her Tallahassee home in the middle of the night. No sign of a struggle, nothing missing, large-scale searches in the area turning up no clues. In tonight's Unsolved Florida, the Tallahassee Police Department gives the most revealing interview they've ever done, providing new details and, for the first time, naming a potential suspect. Tallahassee, 2006.
Police spent the day searching Gilmore's home in the quiet community of Wilson Green.
For anyone who lived here at the time, her face would be familiar.
We need you to help us.
Plastered on billboards, missing flyers, yard signs, local and even national news.
A 30-year-old pregnant woman named Ali Gilmore simply vanished.
But it's a case that has, for years, baffled the best efforts of those trying to solve it.
There was something eerie to me. I felt like something wasn't right when I got there.
And left a hole in the hearts of those who love her most.
It's an acid taste, not knowing. In 15 years, holidays, birthdays, took a lot from us.
It's like when you look at the pictures, you're like, where do you begin?
Ali Aisha Grimsley was born on January 5th, 1976 in Riviera Beach. Attended Jupiter High School, where she was a standout track star and where she met her best friend, Retha Ratliff.
Ali was a really, really sweet, selfless person.
A hard worker, too, Ali's drive would eventually take her to Tallahassee to attend FAMU, where she would go on to keep her high school job at Publix, even after graduating and taking a job as an analyst at the Department of Health. It wasn't long before she fell in love with a guy she met at the Governor's Square Mall.
It was very spontaneous.
Several years into the marriage, they bought a home off Loraine Court on Tallahassee's south side. Ali even picked out the numbers to match the paint. But it wasn't long before the stress started to take a toll on the marriage.
I was a full-time student and I was working full-time. There was so much going on that I didn't have a lot of income, and she was carrying a lot of weight. And it just kind of created a problem between us.
James says they needed a little space, and so in October 2005, he moved to his brother's house, sometime just before FAMU homecoming, which detectives believe proved to be a fateful night for Ali Gilmore.
She went to homecoming, had a good time, met this gentleman, Dwight, very nice, very attractive. I'm assuming she fell for him right away.
The first sign of trouble was when the always punctual Ali didn't show up for work.
The porch light is still on at Ali Gilmore's Southside home.
It took a few days, but police eventually swarmed the neighborhood, scouring the home for clues.
We knocked on the door. There was no signs of any struggle or any issues at that time.
Lieutenant Jeff Mahoney, who was a young homicide investigator at the time, was at Ali's house the day police responded.
In her bedroom, it looked like her blanket was pulled back as if she was laying in bed at some point. Next to her was a prenatal book that she was reading.
Ali's car out front, her purse inside, her front door locked. The smart, driven woman with a megawatt smile had vanished. In the weeks that followed, massive search efforts by air and land.
It was a very intense search.
Pat Simmons was in charge of the volunteer canine search and rescue team.
Pat, you're going to stop where we need to start again?
Spending weeks at police request, searching wooded and rural areas in the city near Ali's house, and even nearby in the massive Apalachicola National Forest.
Looking for anything that could have been tossed out of a car, or possibly looking for anything that would have a human cadaver scent on it.
Volunteers didn't find anything that tied back to Ali. Meanwhile, Ali's family was spearheading their own effort.
When you're in our shoes or in the space that we're in, nothing happens soon enough. You're not working hard enough. You're not searching far enough.
Regularly driving up from West Palm Beach.
Took off every weekend.
Holding news conferences and handing out flyers.
Please step forward.
They ran the effort like a campaign, a skill they learned from their cousin Michael, then the mayor of Riviera Beach.
They did a tremendous job of
doing all they can to keep her in the minds and the authorities on the job of looking for her.
A bad car accident on one trip to Tallahassee left Ali's mother injured. She's never fully recovered.
Always ask God to please let me be around.
The family never imagining back then we would be here now.
I just want to know. I want to know, where is Ali Gilmore? What happened to my sister? And who is responsible?
After the break, investigators name a person of interest and reveal never-before-known details about the case. It has been 15 years since the pregnant Ali Gilmore vanished in the night. Investigators hoping the new information they're about to release will help to crack the case. Lieutenant Jeff Mahoney with Tallahassee PD.
This is the biggest case file Tallahassee Police Department has ever had.
Says investigators have interviewed hundreds of people.
She was 4 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance.
And for the first time are now publicly identifying a potential suspect.
She had circled on her daily planner that the date of her conception date with D.A., which is the initials for Dwight Aldridge.
That conception date, police say, was the night of FAMU homecoming. Information Ali had apparently told at least one person about, her older sister Tracy.
She potentially didn't know who would be the father, either James or Dwight. But she was more so thinking Dwight, because Dwight attended to her OBGYN test.
James, who police say passed a stress test and has been cooperative over the years, says even he had questions about the paternity after Ali told him about the affair during a counseling session.
We were going to work it out either way. In my brain, that's where I was. I did not want to not be with her. So,
police point to several reasons why Dwight Aldridge is still on their radar.
He lied to us about his alibi.
Investigators have long said Ali received a call at 12:48 Friday morning, but never revealed who that call was from until now.
That phone call was made to her from Dwight Aldridge.
Police say Aldridge admits to speaking with Ali that night, but lied to them about where he called from.
His phone towers are hitting in her neighborhood.
Police say Aldridge, who's
definitely still within the Tallahassee community,
has stopped cooperating. WCTV reached out to Aldridge several times by phone numbers we found online and an email in a court document, but never heard back. The only photo of him we could find, now nearly 20 years old, from the Department of Corrections, where he spent roughly 5 years in prison for armed robbery before he met Ali. The only public comments he's ever made were to the Tallahassee Democrat in 2009, referring to Ali as a friend. It would seem he has moved on from whatever his connection to Ali was. Florida State says he graduated last December with a nursing degree.
This is my niece or my nephew. Never got a chance to meet.
For little sister Atala, who always looked up to big sister Ali.
Ali was very stylish.
Even followed in her footsteps to FAMU. She's now living life for two.
I feel like everything and the steps and the moments that I'm experiencing in life, I'm doing it for both of us.
And holds on to hope they'll get justice for Ali.
I just want the shackles to be free from our family.
So many years have passed. Ali's then 8-year-old nephew, in the background of vigils and searches, now a grown man.
She was someone's sister. She was someone's aunt. She was someone's daughter.
Everyone who loved Ali left in limbo.
I think about more is what could have been. What could have been.
Others, like Big Brother Percy, process the trauma in their own ways, like a visit to Ali's tree overlooking Lake Ella that was planted on her due date back in 2006, and by talking to her.
I love you. I love you.
Wherever she is.
I say it all the time, come on home. You know, where are you, Ali?
And today, Ali would be 45 years old, her child 15. Detectives feel they are very close to solving this case, and they're hoping that someone that may have knowledge or may have heard something over the years will come forward. If you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers at 850-574-TIPS. That's 850-574-8477. And you can remain anonymous and could be eligible for a cash reward. Plus, your help could end the suffering for so many people. We'll be right back.